Hello teacher, welcome to this webpage. So this webpage has been created, as you've probably figured out already, as a way of supporting students' learning of Year 10 Chinese. In particular, this topic focuses on home and neighbourhood as a subtopic under the core unit of personal world. Alrighty, so in the syllabus you'll notice that there are listening, reading, speaking and writing components of the stage 5 skills to be learned. So the way that we have, basically the purpose of this video is to allow you, the teacher, to understand a bit more about how this website might be helpful to you as a teacher of this topic, and give you some suggestions for how you might like to use it with your students. So as you can see, this is the home page. The students have an instructional video that's about 10 minutes long, and that is another screencast which I have created, and it's about so it's 10 minutes long, so that's perfect for homework, really, so the students can have an idea of what to do. In it I go over these netiquette rules. You might like to reiterate those in the classroom with the students. Very important, of course, for respect at all times, particularly on the internet. Very important. Alrighty. So I'd just like to run you through these activities briefly, in particular the speaking and writing task, which is the assessment task, whether it be formative or summative. Alrighty, so the first one is the cultural activity. Now, it is not yet uploaded, but that's alright, it'll be there soon. There will be a passage written in English. It'll help the students to understand a bit more about the culture that is, well, the Chinese culture regarding housing and cultural traditions, and it will help them to get a basic idea of what's being talked about in this topic. There will be some comprehension questions at the bottom of the page as well. So that's something that the students should really do first before that they really dive into the vocab. So, well, I mean, you know, obviously it's up to you, but that's just a recommendation. Okay, so then the vocabulary. We have 3 Quizlets. Alright, so now if these links don't work, you can use, just copy them, paste them into the URL box just here. But basically these are some nice vocabulary. You've got flashcards. If you haven't used Quizlet before, I recommend just a quick tutorial. There's plenty of them on YouTube, you know, just in the videos on how to use Quizlet. Yeah, it's pretty basic, really. It's mostly flashcards, but it's online, so it's very smooth. But you can do that. You can Google that. All right. Now, something I should mention. This collection of activities takes more than one lesson. Definitely more than one lesson, since each of these Quizlets will take about 10 minutes. So that's half an hour all up. And it's rather similar with the listening room as well. Now, this is not Quizlet, it's something separate. It's quite an interesting site. It's external to this page we've created. So there's a task number 1, scenario, speaking, task 2, reading. So all up, each of these activities should take about 15 minutes each, 10 to 15 minutes each. So that might even be an entire period, depending on how long they are at your school. Now, if you are like me and languages is not your specialization, and perhaps you're a casual teacher, then you might find that these are quite useful because they are quite self-contained. So there's not too much content knowledge from the teacher necessary in this bit, as opposed to the vocabulary, unfortunately, that the students might need a bit of help. These Quizlets are often, well, Quizlet is something which usually is best to be done in the classroom context, so that the students have plenty of opportunity to ask questions. So yes. Oh, I also forgot to mention, there are some sentence structure revisions just here, if the students are feeling a bit forgetful. Alrighty. Now, so I've shown you the cultural activities, the vocab, the listening room. The reading room is a Chinese passage. Right? Now, there's a diagram just here, but rather than attaching these sentences to the diagram, we thought, since the students will eventually need to read a passage, a block of text like this, they should have an opportunity to get used to it. So we've included them as separate, unfortunately not spatially contiguous. But we have some comprehension questions down here, or some examples. If you'd like to change them, of course you can, but these are some suggestions. Because these are the major things spoken about in this passage. All right, so that's quite self-explanatory. With a deep reading of this, particularly since it's a new language for most of the students, it should take about 20 minutes, perhaps a little more. Yeah, and the students can obviously, whether depending on your classroom, they might do it quietly or collaboratively. But okay, so this speaking task. This is the final sort of task of the miniature unit, or topic. Topic is a bit more appropriate. Yeah. So now you can choose, obviously, like I said, whether it's formative or summative. But in that instructional video on the homepage, like I mentioned earlier, the students will have an understanding of how to do this activity. So basically, they imagine the scenario that they're showing someone around their house. They draw a floor plan of their own, but this is not assessed. It is only to give them a basic idea of, or it's like a stepping stone. It's a pre-reading or pre-speaking activity. So they draw the floor plan and then write a description of it, which they'll present as they're giving their friend a tour. Then they create an audio presentation. So they record their speech, or they record their dialogue with a partner, or maybe on their own, in this context as a tour guide around their house. And once they've created their drawing, their written description, and their audio description, they then are required to submit it. Now, there is an audio file. There is a written script. Now, if you would like them to also submit their floor plan, that's fine, of course. You can do that. You can require that of your students and let them know. But one thing, this is all quite self-explanatory, really. And students also have, if you would like to watch that student instruction video, there's also some information there. But one bit of information, just in case you're not familiar with Google Drive, is how to create a folder that only the student whom the folder is shared with can edit. Because you don't want students going onto each other's folders and editing those things and having either plagiarism or bullying or, like cyberbullying is addressed in the netiquette on the homepage, but obviously you'd like to restrict it as much as possible. So I'm just in case. Well, I mean, like if you are already familiar with Google Drive, then obviously you can. The video is basically finished for you. But if you'd like to know more about Google Drive, keep listening, because I'll show you something you can do. So I created my own folder, right? Speaking and writing task submission box. Now this is my own personal Drive account. If you don't have one, that it's easily Googleable, particularly using Google, since Drive is here, right? Now, with Google Drive, so I created this folder using the new. I created a folder, right? But within that, I want to create more folders. In fact, I want to create one for each of my students, and they'll pop up here, right? So I'll do the first one for you. So a new folder. I want to call it Jemima. I don't know anyone named Jemima, but anyway, it's an example of a name. And so I want to share this now. So I've right-clicked, share it with Jemima. Now Jemima has her own school email address. Now, since Jemima Thornberry is a made-up name, there is not actually any real email address attached to it. So, really, I'm just going to show you an example using one of my own email addresses, actually. So that's something, that's my own email address. So I'm going to send it. Yep. Okay. So I will receive an invitation from myself because I have multiple email addresses. So it should come up pretty soon. There we go. Alright, now this is the most recent one. Alright, now using this invitation, I'm accepting the invitation. The good thing is, I'm the only one, Jemima, right? Well, this email address only went to me. No other students in the class, right? So it only went to this person. So other students, such as Jeremy Fingleberry, won't be able to access this. So if Jemima wants to upload some files, she can do it, and no one else except the teacher will know. So let's say weekly schedule, for example. Oh no, there's a meme. Yeah, cool. Alright, so that means that if I go back here, here's Jemima's. If I want to create another one, let's say alright, now so this one has been shared with Jemima, but no one else, and that means that only Jemima can access it. Whereas this one I want to share with Jeremy and no one else, so that only Jeremy can access it. Well, I mean the teacher can access it as well, but yeah, we know this. Alright, so then I'll write in Jeremy, you get the drift. So that allows the students to edit only their own, and the teacher can view. Oh, by the way, it is also important that this is on the edit setting and not the view setting, because the students will need to upload things, so they need to be able to edit. Yeah, I think that's all you really need to know. And oh, sorry, one last thing. So this contact box. Now, in the students' instructional video, explicit reference has been made to this. So this is if the students are feeling like their online safety has been compromised, this is an opportunity for them to anonymously contact you, the teacher, and so they can put your email there. They'll know your teacher email, and if not, then you can give it to them, and so that they have it and they know about it, and then they can write about what's troubling them. Something simple. Jemima. Anyway, you get the drift. Cool. Thank you for listening.